If you're over 70 and noticing that your strength isn't what it used to be, you're not imagining it. Getting out of a chair feels harder, stairs take more effort, and even with regular meals, muscle seems to slowly disappear. This process has a name: age-related muscle loss, or sarcopenia, and it affects nearly everyone as they age. But here's the good news: muscle loss is not inevitable, and one simple breakfast change can make a remarkable difference. Today we're talking about one powerful everyday food that helps older adults preserve, rebuild and protect muscle naturally without supplements, extreme diets or heavy workouts. And that food is plain, full-fat Greek yogurt. After the age of 70, something quiet but profound begins to happen inside the body, and most people never realize it until the consequences show up in daily life. It's not that food disappears from the plate, and it's not that effort disappears from the person. It's that the signal between food and muscle begins to fade. Scientists now understand that age-related muscle loss is not primarily a shortage of protein, but a breakdown in communication. The body still eats, but the muscles stop listening. Research shows that adults over 70 can lose up to 1% of muscle mass every year, and even more alarming, they can lose 3% of strength annually, which is far more dangerous than muscle size alone. Strength loss is what causes falls. Falls are the leading cause of injury-related death in older adults. One fall can mark the beginning of dependence, disability and rapid decline. And yet most people are told the wrong solution: just eat more protein. But here's the shocking truth backed by modern physiology: older adults often eat enough protein already. The problem is that aging muscles develop what researchers call anabolic resistance. This means the muscle cells no longer respond properly to the protein signals they receive. It's like knocking on a door that used to open easily, but now barely moves no matter how loud you knock. Studies published in journals like the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition show that younger adults can stimulate muscle repair with relatively small amounts of protein, but older adults require higher quality, more precise protein signals, especially rich in one amino acid, leucine. Without leucine crossing a certain threshold, the muscle-building pathway simply doesn't activate. The body digests the food, absorbs the calories, but the muscle repair switch never flips on. At the same time, digestion itself changes with age. Stomach acid production declines, pancreatic enzymes weaken. This means dense proteins like red meat or heavily cooked foods are harder to break down. Undigested protein cannot become muscle. It becomes waste, inflammation, or stored fat. This is why many older adults feel heavy, bloated, or fatigued after eating, yet still feel weaker month after month. There is also a timing problem. Research from multiple universities has shown that protein eaten at breakfast has a disproportionately powerful effect on muscle preservation compared to protein eaten later in the day. Yet most older adults eat very little protein in the morning and try to compensate at dinner, when the body is least responsive. This mismatch quietly accelerates muscle loss year after year. Here's where the story changes from discouraging to hopeful. Scientists have discovered that anabolic resistance is not permanent. It can be bypassed, but only when the signal is clear, concentrated, and easy for the body to interpret. Muscles don't respond to bulk, they respond to clarity. Leucine is that clarity. It acts like a key that unlocks the muscle repair machinery. It activates a pathway known as mTOR, which tells muscle cells to start rebuilding immediately. Without enough leucine in one sitting, this pathway remains mostly silent, no matter how much total protein is eaten throughout the day. This is why simply adding another piece of meat often fails. The digestive system struggles, the leucine signal is diluted, and the muscle never receives a strong enough message. But when protein is concentrated, digestible, and paired with a healthy gut, the body responds even in advanced age. Clinical trials have shown that older adults who consume leucine-rich, easily digested protein can increase muscle protein synthesis by up to 50%, even without intense exercise. In some studies, participants in their 70s and 80s regained measurable strength after years of decline simply by correcting the signal. Another overlooked factor is the gut. Nearly 70% of immune and nutrient signaling begins in the digestive tract, and the gut microbiome changes dramatically with age. Poor gut health reduces amino acid absorption, increases inflammation, and interferes with muscle repair hormones like insulin and IGF-1. When the gut is inflamed or imbalanced, muscle loss accelerates regardless of calorie intake. This is why protein quality matters more than protein quantity. A food that delivers complete amino acids, activates leucine signaling, and supports gut health can restore the conversation between food and muscle. Without that, the body continues to age faster than it should. What makes this especially powerful is that muscles remain metabolically active tissue even in old age. Muscle acts like a glucose sponge, pulling sugar out of the bloodstream and reducing the risk of type 2 diabetes. It stabilizes joints, protects bones, and even supports brain health by releasing protective molecules called myokines. Losing muscle is not just about weakness, it's about accelerated aging across the entire body. Perhaps the most shocking fact of all is this: muscle loss is one of the strongest predictors of mortality in older adults, more predictive than body weight or even some chronic diseases. And yet, it is one of the most reversible age-related conditions when addressed correctly. The body does not forget how to build muscle, it forgets how to receive the message. Restore the signal and the response returns. This is not about pushing the body harder. It's about working with its changing biology. It's about giving muscles a message they can still hear, at a time they are most ready to respond, in a form they can easily use. Aging does not shut the door on strength, it only makes the doorway narrower. And when the right signal passes through, the body remembers exactly what to do. What you eat, how you digest it, and when you consume it can determine whether muscle loss continues quietly or whether the body begins rebuilding again, one morning at a time. And that single insight changes everything. One simple food, eaten at the right time, can change the direction of aging in a way most people never expect. Not dramatically, not overnight, but quietly, steadily, and powerfully. For adults over 70, muscle loss often feels like an unstoppable force, something written into time itself. Yet science tells a very different story. Muscle does not disappear because the body is too old. It disappears because the daily signal to rebuild has gone missing. Greek yogurt is not a trend food. It is not a supplement. It is not a miracle cure, and that is precisely why it works. It speaks the body's original biological language, the one it learned long before modern diets complicated everything. When eaten consistently at breakfast, Greek yogurt delivers a combination of signals that aging muscles can still recognize clearly, even when almost everything else feels muted. Clinical nutrition research shows that older adults require fewer meals, but more precise ones. The goal is not constant eating. The goal is a clear metabolic message. Greek yogurt delivers that message in 3 critical ways at the same time. It provides complete protein, it delivers a high concentration of leucine, and it improves digestion through live cultures. Very few foods do all 3 simultaneously, especially in a form gentle enough for aging systems. One of the most overlooked facts in aging research is that the body is most responsive to muscle repair signals in the morning. After overnight fasting, muscle cells are primed to listen. Yet this is exactly when most older adults consume the least protein, relying instead on toast, cereal, or tea. Studies from Europe and Japan have shown that redistributing protein toward breakfast significantly improves muscle protein synthesis, even when total daily protein intake remains the same. Timing alone changes outcomes. Greek yogurt excels here because it requires almost no preparation, no chewing effort, and minimal digestive strain. Its protein is already partially broken down through fermentation, making amino acids more bioavailable. This matters because stomach acid production declines sharply with age. Without sufficient acid, proteins remain locked and unusable. Greek yogurt bypasses much of this barrier. Leucine is the star of this process. Researchers have repeatedly shown that leucine acts as the trigger for muscle rebuilding. Without it, the muscle-building pathway remains mostly inactive. Greek yogurt contains one of the highest natural leucine densities among everyday foods, especially when compared calorie for calorie. This means a small serving can cross the leucine threshold required to activate muscle repair, something many larger meals fail to do. What makes this even more powerful is consistency. Muscle does not respond to occasional effort, it responds to daily signals. A single breakfast bowl of Greek yogurt, eaten 5 or 6 days a week, becomes a repeated instruction to the body: preserve tissue, rebuild strength, stay resilient. Over time, these small signals compound into measurable changes. Research has shown that older adults who regularly consume fermented dairy products demonstrate better muscle strength, improved balance, and reduced fall risk compared to those who do not. Falls are not accidents of clumsiness. They are consequences of weakened muscles failing to stabilize joints quickly enough. Strength is protection, and protection begins at the cellular level. The probiotics in Greek yogurt play a role that is rarely discussed but critically important. The gut is where protein becomes usable or useless. Aging is associated with reduced microbial diversity, increased inflammation, and impaired nutrient absorption. Probiotics help restore balance, reduce low-grade inflammation, and improve amino acid uptake. When the gut improves, muscles finally receive what they have been missing. There is also a hormonal dimension. Muscle repair depends on insulin sensitivity, growth factors, and anti-inflammatory signals. Greek yogurt supports all three. Its protein slows glucose absorption, stabilizing blood sugar. Stable blood sugar improves insulin signaling, which in turn enhances muscle protein synthesis. This is especially important for older adults at risk of insulin resistance or type 2 diabetes, where muscle loss and blood sugar problems accelerate each other in a destructive loop. Perhaps the most striking evidence comes from studies showing that even without intense exercise, older adults can increase muscle protein synthesis simply by improving protein quality and timing. This challenges the belief that strength is lost forever, once heavy exercise is no longer possible. Gentle movement combined with the right nutritional signal is enough to change the trajectory. Greek yogurt also supports bone health, which is inseparable from muscle health. Calcium and phosphorus are not just bone minerals. They are essential for muscle contraction and nerve signaling. Weak muscles and weak bones feed into each other. Strengthening one supports the other. This is why diets that exclude dairy without careful planning often worsen frailty in older populations. Another rarely mentioned fact is that muscle tissue releases molecules called myokines, which protect the brain, reduce inflammation, and support immune function. Preserving muscle is not about vanity or appearance. It is about staying mentally sharp, metabolically stable, and physically independent. Muscle is an endocrine organ. When it declines, the whole body feels the loss. Greek yogurt works because it is simple enough to be sustained. Complex plans fail. Supplements get forgotten. Extreme diets collapse under real life. But a familiar food, eaten daily, becomes a habit. Habits shape biology more powerfully than motivation ever could. What makes this approach especially compelling is that it respects the reality of aging rather than fighting it. It does not demand more effort, it demands better alignment. It meets the body where it is, not where it used to be. And when the signal is right, the response still comes. Muscle loss after 70 is not a sudden collapse. It is the result of thousands of missed signals. Restore one signal each morning, and the story begins to change. Strength stabilizes, confidence returns, movement feels safer, independence lasts longer. Aging is not decided by one dramatic intervention. It is shaped by small, repeated choices that tell the body what matters. And when the body is reminded day after day that muscle still matters, it listens. Sometimes the most powerful reversal does not come from doing more. It comes from choosing better. And sometimes that choice fits in a single bowl at breakfast.